quick video regarding the magnetic catches. So this is a normal Mark III underlever. This is the obviously the catch end. So what you need to do, I'll take the O-ring off. This ball detent is held into this tube. It's threaded, but it's also held with Loctite. So you have to heat the end of the tube gently until the Loctite breaks, and then you have to grip this end cap and then wind it out. Now, I use a collet to grip this so it doesn't put much marks on it, but you could use a leather belt and a pair of grips, or you could use soft jaws in a vise to grip this. So I would heat this with this vertical facing up in the air till the Loctite breaks, and then quickly lock this between soft jaws in a vise, and then wind this out to break the Loctite, etc. Because obviously on the other end you've got the triangular bit that goes in the rifle, so you can use that for a bit of leverage to wind it out. So you get that out, and it looks like that. And what you do is you put that to one side, and then what you do is you install the new one. Now the new one has a magnet in the end. The new one's aluminium, the old one's steel, but they screw in just the same. But what you don't do right now is you don't screw it in with Loctite. You just do a dry run, because what you're going to do now is you're going to fit this one, which is the actual catch that goes on your barrel. You're going to fit that first. Now, it has the little indent here for the pin. You don't really need that. All you've got to do though is you've got to make sure that when you take the bolt out your old one, and then you take the old one off, if the pin stays in the underlever, it will all fit just fine. Put a drop of Loctite here in the middle. So you push this under, you put your bolt in, make sure you put Loctite on the bolt and you tighten it up. Now, some barrels, let's imagine this is the barrel, so I'll take the catch out the end. So let's imagine this is the barrel, and that this goes on the end like that. Now some barrels, where they've been polished, they're rounded on the edges, and what that can do is when you bolt this on, it can make this catch tilt like this way. So it tilts towards the end here. So you might have to put a piece of polythene underneath as a shim right on the end. You can normally tuck it just far enough under that you don't see it. And then you bolt that up with some medium or weak blue Loctite on the threads just to hold it, and obviously a little drop on the underside. And you bolt that up and you let that go off. Now, you've obviously got this piece now screwed in the end of your underlever, and it's dry. What you do is you bring your underlever down, and obviously they're going to snap together. If this is screwed in far enough, they'll near enough snap together. What you don't want is you do want a gap between the magnets. You don't want the magnets touching. So what you do is you get a piece of paper. Now I often use just a piece of folded A4 paper, and you put them between the magnet and there, and that gives you enough gap so that what you can do now is put your medium strength Loctite on these threads, wind this in, put in the piece of paper between the two, and then leave it to go off overnight, so that in the morning when you pull it apart, these magnets are extremely strong, by the way. There's a gap physically between the two, but it's the magnetic attraction that holds the lever in position. It's not actually touching. So make sure you've got a very small gap between the two. And remember to remove the old ball detent, this part. You're going to need some heat on the tube, and it's best to hold the tube vertically and then gently warm the tube all around using a heat gun or a blow lamp. But be careful, you don't want to discolor your blacking on your tube. You can normally warm it just gently enough all the way around, and then wind it out. and then obviously you put your magnetic one in, but do a dry run first. Make sure everything's gonna locate, screw in far enough, etc., etc. Make sure that it's all gonna work, and then put it together, Loctite it up, leave the paper between it overnight, and the job's a good one.